Just doing a little read on the solar eclipse. So this week we had Mercury move into Leo. We've had Jupiter in Leo. And we have Mars now in Cancer. So Mars in Cancer should be favorable for Pisces people. Depends on what's in your chart too, you know, and where that hits. So you need to know what's going on in your astrology chart. I don't think understanding tarot is enough. I think there's more to it, okay? We've got the Two of Cups. We have the Knight of Cups. We have the Ten of Wands. We have the Justice card in reverse. We have the Seven of Cups in reverse. And we have the Knight of Pentacles, okay? So, that's what we have right now. And I'll put some angel cards down. Oh, so there's always something coming up for us personally, you know? Processing the past, layers of the past. Not that we're living in the past, but everybody's affected by the past, okay? And so we constantly are in a space where we're letting go and we're moving into a rebirth. So when the old stuff is leaving, we're in a new process, you know? We could be in a new process with abundance, okay? And self-love. So the cards that came up were, for the angel cards, we have self-love, grounding, anxiety, rebirth, and abundance, okay? So let's talk about that. We want to be grounded. We want to be grounded. You know, we're not trying to fly away. We're just trying to be stable and grounded. You know, let go of your anxiety, you know. There's some sort of stability where we are now. You know, we might not be where we want to be, but there's stability here and now, okay? So, considering that we have some sort of stability and we're, you know, we can be grounded enough to go about our business and let go of anxiety, because you know, we are letting go of the past and we are in a rebirth as we're in the new era, okay? So, we're in a new time and we're in a new space, okay? And self-love matters. Loving ourselves through the changes makes a difference. Abundance really can be helpful in creating a better future. Okay, with the Two of Cups upright, we're dealing with harmony and partnership. We got to nurture our relationships for it to work, you know. We've got the Knight of Cups in reverse here. We can be totally idealistic, you know. We can be totally idealistic, and people might not understand why we are the way we are, you know? But there's nothing wrong with being idealistic. It's just that we are in a world where relationships are complicated. So, like, you know, we want harmony in our partnerships, however that looks. And then we have the idealistic nature of the Knight of Cups, you know, where we think things should be a certain way. And that's a valid form of thought. Things should be a certain way, you know. Then we have the Ten of Wands. And it's upright. But, you know, we could have too much weight on our shoulders, okay? So, you know, in a perfect world, you know, we are idealistic and, you know, we want things a certain way. We want harmony and balance in partnerships. But, you know, sometimes people get weighed down. People get weighed down. And sometimes things are not fair because we have the justice in reverse. Sometimes it doesn't feel fair. Life doesn't feel fair. So, you know, we can get caught up in those feelings, especially with Mars and Cancer. Mars just newly went into Cancer, and, you know, people are talking about how people are feeling emotional, you know, about how things should be and what should be happening, you know, and reality is things don't happen the way we would hope they would, you know. So everyone has their own setbacks, everyone has their own troubles. One thing coming up for me is I think it's hard to go to the doctor and the dentist and things like that. I think it's hard to do that, especially if you're trying to work and be balanced. Hello, thanks for being here. It's hard to do the work-life balance. It can be a challenge, but we need to maintain stability and let go of the anxiety. You know, be proactive in handling things. Put things off. Do what you can when you can, and that's the best you can do. You know, if we feel justice has failed us, I mean, that weighs heavy on us. That weighs heavy on us. It can be very hurtful when we feel injustice in our life, right? Okay, you're looking for other YouTubers online here. Oh, you just want to say hi? Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for being here. You're awesome. Yeah, so then we've got the Seven of Cups in reverse here too, right? So that we're adding that into the message here, the Seven of Cups. And it's reversed. We have temptation. We got temptation with the Seven of Cups. Sometimes people are not rational. You know, people have their moments. And then sometimes people will promise you something like in a relationship, like there's an offer of love or whatever. There's a partnership offer or something. And then sometimes people are not fair in delivering what they say they will, you know. And then sometimes it's about taking a step back, deciding what you really want. We have the Knight of Pentacles, and it's in reverse. So it says proceed with caution, actually. Being complacent doesn't improve your life. Sometimes people are a distraction, um, because we do have a lot on our plate. This card was talking about how we have a lot on our plate, the Ten of Wands. We have a lot on our plate. We got a lot to do. And then people are like, let's be in a relationship. And then you decide whether or not, you are ready for that, because you have your own obligations too. I mean, sure, there could be balance and harmony, but um, don't neglect your own life. So the Knight of Pentacles in reverse says be cautious. Don't be complacent. So don't neglect your life just because you're being idealistic and you want to have a partnership. So you want to put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, maybe you need to check in like a couple times a week with people, but you don't need to do it like every day, because if you do it every day, it might like be not the best flow, Check in with your friends, check in with the people you love, but don't neglect your own life because you'll run into complacency. And you don't want misleading influences. So, I mean, sometimes we think too in the working world that whatever's going on, as far as our stability, that's it. But, there's other stuff to work on. We could work on spiritual development, our rebirth. Um, Abundance doesn't have to be in the working world. So, I mean, in finding our work-life balance, there's more than one way to go about things. So, it's just all about the exploration. So with the Page of Wands is about new journeys. Sorry, that's the wrong one. No, that's the we have the Page of Wands. Yeah, the Page of Wands is about good news. You want to create new things. Yeah, so, I mean, people might want to do some sort of collaboration and a partnership, and there could be good news with that. Maybe you already have a lot on your plate, and maybe having someone to bounce ideas off of is a good thing. But the idea is to keep your focus and achieve what it is you need to do, because there's something you need to do that relates to your own life, regardless of whether or not you have partners or not. So harmony in a balanced partnership could be not being codependent. Everybody has their own life. So, you work more towards getting your stuff done, but, there could be a little collaboration too. So, people can work together on some level, but let's not neglect our own life. I feel like that's what this reading is saying, is do not neglect your own life. There could be good news about collaborations and positive things. Maybe you got somebody around you that is idealistic. They want a solid situation, but everybody's got a lot on their plate. So we have to take care of ourselves and love ourselves. Here's that self-love card. Here we have that self-worth, self-love card. It says that we need to believe we are worthy of love. So remember to focus your attention on loving and believing in yourself. You are being encouraged by the angels to make your relationship with yourself your #1 priority. Rather than dwell upon your shortcomings, you must accept and embrace who you are. So I feel like there is a little something going on regarding self-love. It's kind of like self-love can come before a balanced, harmonious partnership, a healthy one. You know what I mean? Codependency, you know, too much dependency is not good. Being able to depend on someone else, that's great, okay? But you need to see where the balance lies with that. You know, you want healthy, balanced partnership, and we can be idealistic about that. But then we have a lot on our plates, okay? And we care about creating abundance. We care about the spiritual rebirth. Spiritual people can have a life, you know, they could have resources. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we have the abundance card here. So with the abundance card, we are believing in abundance. You know, we're believing that things can happen the way they're supposed to, right? And then, you know, with the rebirth, it's about the spiritual awakening, and it's about the rebirth, right? We can align with our higher self. And that doesn't mean we can't have supportive people too. We can. I mean, there's duality to life. You know, life is not just one thing, you know. We have alone time, we have time with others, you know, we have time to meet up, we have time to, you know, be in our own space, you know, to recharge. You know, we can let go of our anxiety and our feelings of being overwhelmed. Maybe somebody can help. Maybe, you know, you guys can work things out. And there could be good news. There could be good news. And maybe life can begin to feel less unfair. But, you know, let's keep in mind that even if people, you know, have ideas about coming through for you, I think, you know, even though we feel like life is not fair and we're overwhelmed and, you know, somebody says they want to be there for you, understand that there's a balance at play too. A give and take in life, right? There's a give and take in life, okay? So, you know, we have to tend to our own affairs too. And let's deal with the spiritual part of our life too, you know, and let go of the anxiety. I'll read the anxiety card and I'll close. Ah, thank you. Appreciate that. You're smart for a woman. I inhale peace and exhale worry. So let's try to like embrace peace and let go of worry. The angels come to comfort you and remind you that you're not alone and that your assistance is accessible to you if you need it. Take it as a message that you need to make some time for yourself to unwind and concentrate on self-care. Let go of what you cannot change. Yeah, we can only do so much. We can't stress about things we cannot change. We can only do so much. And that's okay to acknowledge what we can control and what we can't. Acknowledge where we can work together with others cooperatively, acknowledging where we just have to step up and handle the responsibilities. I mean, that's life, you know. There's stuff we have to do, but we can have positive people, positive partnerships, but we have to be true to ourselves too, because if we think that things are going to happen in an idealistic way, you know, we could be disappointed because maybe it's not time for that. Maybe that's not now, you know? So essentially, let's just do the best we can. And let's remember to do this self-love. We can ground with the spiritual. We can work on a spiritual rebirth. We can work on just having our balance in life and letting go of the anxiety. Don't stress over things you can't change. Okay? That's my message. Don't stress over things you can't change. Okay? So let's let go of the past. We have a rebirth at hand. Okay? We have a rebirth. We are becoming new people. Problems of the past are not happening now. So let's look forward to that. All right, thanks for joining me. Happy solar eclipse in Leo this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. Enjoy the rest of the night or morning wherever you are.